tell y'all something. That dude Wallace is a damn genius. Okay, let me just say that right now. And let me also say this. Yes, yes, yes. What is good, my people? Welcome back to Computer Music Academy's weekly homework podcast. I am your host, Tashir Rasay. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Welcome to week 213 of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. Shout out to my man, Mr. Wallace, for that intro. Man, that's dope. Whew. Shout out to all of my peoples at CMA. This is another non-live edition, unfortunately. But we do have a really good show, I think, lined up for you. And once again, hopefully we'll be back next week. Let's get into it. What are we doing? See, this is why I need to be live. I need to get all of that out. Episode 213. Now, many people that know me, you may not know me personally, but you follow me on social media. You've watched this show and a couple of the other shows that I participate in. A lot of people know that I am a big wrestling fan. I am. I'm not much of a sports fan. I've never really gotten off into basketball, baseball, football, hockey. Even though I've watched a decent amount of all those sports, they just never really been for me. Now, that being said, I am a huge wrestling fan. And as I get older, I'm becoming more of a boxing fan as well. I've even watched a little bit of MMA and like, okay, cool, I can rock with this. So contact sports, I guess you could say, is what I'm a huge fan of. But even with contact sports or even regular sports, there's one huge thing they have in common. Music. The teams, the athletes, whoever it may be, normally come out, and this is more so, well, this is emphasized, I would say, in the combat sports, wrestling, MMA, boxing. It's really emphasized and is really produced in those sports where people actually have entrances. But that even happens on the regular sports side as well, because especially if it's championship games, World Series, Super Bowl, that kind of stuff, where people actually come out to this music, the rah-rah, let's get it pumped, let's get it going. And that's where we're going this week, because we've done this pretty much every year, if I'm not mistaken, this particular assignment. And I wasn't going to do it this year. But then I watched this show a couple of weeks back that was incredible called All In. And long story short, everybody knows about WWE. This was a show that is the largest independent wrestling show of all time. It was put on by wrestlers, not promoters, not a big company. They put their money together, they put it on, and it was a great show. That being said, I was finally introduced to a gentleman by the name of Marty Scurll, the villain. And his entrance music is so cold to me. I was like, we got to do it. We got to do it. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have 4 submissions this week, and I think we're going to have a hell of a show. I'm pretty sure of it, because we're getting this guy back. He's kicking off the show this week. One of our newer members who's actually doing some good business. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Napier II. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you kick off a show. And that's how you bring someone out. Real talk. I definitely hear that can be played in all of the arenas that I was just talking about, with all those different shows. It can be played in either one of those situations. That's what's really dope about that. It's very versatile. And it definitely has the hype, the pomp, all of that is there. Really dope, upbeat joint, especially if we're talking about an actual sporting event. You know what I'm saying? If you're bringing out recently Serena Williams and the young lady, I can't think of her first name, but Osaka, they played. If one of them came out to that, oh my God, you know, something like that. That's what it's all about. It's all about, here comes this athlete, here comes the game. It's about to get crazy. That's what it's all about. He says, I tried to make this track for an intro to a video game or fight scene of a movie. Hashtag we are CMA. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I like the arpeggiation that was going on in there. All the synth, this is all synth work, which is really dope. So the that's dope. I love the bass. He had some other, as he said, kind of video game sounds in there, almost like 8-bit kind of stuff. It was really dope. And throughout, it actually, you know, it shows you, okay, here's the intro. This is clearly the verse. This is clearly the hook. And it had that. One thing I really would have loved to have seen, Paul, or heard, is it can be, okay, let me say that. It can be just a few different elements in the song where it's beat, few different instruments, and everything kind of interchange and mutes, you know, to indicate what's the verse, what's the hook, and so on. But if it had one other part that kind of took, because here's the thing, you got that bun, dun, 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 constant. I don't think that ever left. If it had a part where that part actually changed keys to maybe go up, and maybe had the bass and maybe like a pad or something around it to kind of elevate it and make it be, you know, like a bridge or a chorus in the song, to give it just a little bit more, to change it up a little bit more for, say, 4 bars, and then to go back down to the other part. That just would have took that from here way up to here. Not to say that it's bad at all, because it's not. It's really dope. But we need to do that stuff to keep people interested. Real talk. But this is dope, Paul. You are killing it right now. Shout out to that. And please take my suggestions, because it's just strictly suggestions. But I promise you, you do those little things and you give it just a little bit more variation, that's going to take those tracks up a lot more. So props to you for that, my man. Thank you for turning in this week. Real talk. All right. Y'all know who's coming up next. I don't even need to say his name. Let's just play the track. see you out here. No one you know. He says, I hope I captured the feel of a superstar walking out to a match. Haven't watched a wrestling match since the days of the Junkyard Dog and the British Bulldogs. LOL. Yeah, that's been a minute. But yeah, it's has very similar elements to what Paul did in his, and both of them are very dope. I like it. This is no one doing what no one does. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some 808s. It's going to be some bass. It's going to be some hi-hats, and they're going to sound dope. One thing I really liked, I don't know if it was on purpose. It doesn't sound over compressed or anything. So I think this particular part was on purpose. There's some, I want to say hi-hats or maybe like a tambourine percussion, hand percussion kind of stuff that kicks in at certain measures that it sounds rusty and crunchy and distorted. And in comparison to everything else that's kind of clean, that sounds great. It's just this, you know what I'm saying? It sounds really, really dope. I like what you did there. Again, very similar to what Paul did, where he had the arpeggiation, but then had all the other stuff that's happening around that. Drums, the drum programming kicking in. And before I even go where I was going to go, I think it's at the 110, 115, where it actually drops down to, I think it's just the drums. It sounded really dope at that part. And it sounded like it had a different pattern. I could be wrong, but it sounded like it had a different pattern at that part with the drums. But this the kind of stuff I'm talking about where you get a chance to hear everything that's going on, even though there's only a few elements in the track, but to really hear and understand that everything is, to understand what all is there. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, I would say the same thing as I said with Paul. This could really use 4 to no more than 8 bars where it completely goes to a different place where, like I said, maybe take the arpeggiation up a key, bring in some orchestral stuff or whatever, and, you know, get that nice swell going on around it, and then drop back down to the regular joint and just take it out. Or however, I think that would definitely elevate both of those tracks. But again, it's no one, and no one has been on a mission this year. So props to no one, man. He's been really doing his business. So you have nothing but my respect, bro. Real talk. Thank you for turning in this week. That turned out really, really dope. All right, let's go on over here. Holler at this gentleman. Now, we haven't heard from him in a couple of weeks, and that's because he was sick. So it was XZ had disappeared for a little bit. He was sick, and now we got this gentleman. He's back after him being sick. So glad everybody's doing well, because trust me, I know. I had my issues with illness this summer, and good God, I never want to have to deal with that again. Anyhow, let's get to our guy representing the far east side. Ladies and gentlemen, students. That right there is freaking crazy. And first and foremost, props on the mix on that. The mix sounds really, really nice on that. Nothing is over compressed or over limited. Everything sounds very clear. You can really understand what's going on, and I'll get to that. About something else, I don't know if people really hear. I'll get to that in a second. This is an entrance for my favorite NBA star, the one and only Tracy McGrady. Nice. December 9th, 2004, I witnessed this man score 13 points in 33 seconds to defeat the San Antonio Spurs on TV. Thank him for that moment, which became a big part of my childhood memories. Hashtag TMAC, hashtag I learn, hashtag we are CMA. This is dope. That's dope right there. And that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure I got across is this particular assignment started out as wrestling themes, but then I know not a lot of people really get into wrestling, especially not like how I do. So I made sure to say this can be done for any sport, any occasion, not just sports. It could be an entrance for something else if necessary. But I love that he went here because first of all, that's crazy. I don't know if that's crazy or it's just surprising that student being in Beijing in China actually has an understanding of NBA. Maybe it's just me, but he actually made this kind of in dedication to Tracy McGrady. That's dope. And that's something, that's a name that I've rarely heard when it comes to, my favorite player. It's always Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. Tracy McGrady, I've heard his name countless times, but I've never heard somebody say, that's my guy. So that's dope. I love that. Getting back to the track, I don't know what you sampled. Please DM me later. I want to hear that original joint. One. Two, I love how you used it. You got the intro, getting into the verse, and I don't think I heard it anywhere else. Maybe a little bit later, but definitely in the first verse, and this is what I was just alluding to. There's something going on in the background. There's like some sped up speech going on or something like that. It sounds like maybe it's commentary, or maybe that's Tracy McGrady saying some stuff, but something is like sped up. I want to say stretched out. It sounds really dope. I don't think I've ever heard anybody use that technique before, at least not in music. That's pretty dope because it's really low. I want to say it pans a little bit, and it's just there. It's like, if you're not listening close enough, you will miss it, but it sounds really dope. So props on that. I love the drum programming. I love the chops. And however, it actually, the drums drop out and it fades out. It does the loop for a little bit where it seemed like it was kind of winding down. Brings it back up into, I guess you could say, verse 2. Does a very similar thing where it drops out and another little build up. And then like towards the end, there's a couple of other things going on where you hear like some orchestral hits in there. And like the bass changes up. And that's the kind of stuff I was talking about for the first two entrants. It's like it needs to have something else to kind of break it up, especially when you're talking about bringing somebody in or being a theme song almost for someone. And it needs that moment, especially, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use wrestling. It needs that moment where the person hits the ring and they stand up, they go to the corner, they stand up on the corner and they do their, their little cheer thing or whatever to kind of get the crowd hype or to get the crowd to boo. And it kind of needs that moment where the music changes so they can do that. This track had that. And I'm so happy that Student actually did that so I can use that as an example for Paul and for No One. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This was dope. This was very dope. And as I said, DM me later, dude. Because I want to know what you sampled. What you used it very nicely. So props to you on that, my man. Good God. Y'all kill it, man. Whether we got 4 or 14, we do all right over here, CMA, man. And now, for the man that's going to be taking us home this week. You already know what time it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Gamma Pods. Boy, I tell you. Gamma Pods closing out episode 213 of the weekly homework assignment / podcast. Gamma is the only dude that could bring a blues harmonica and make it work in hip hop or electronic or however you want to classify that track. He's the only dude that can make that work. Last week he had a freaking sax solo, if I remember correctly. That was stupid. Stupid in a good way. I'm not saying it was dumb. That was crazy. This week, this dude comes with the what is wrong with this dude, man? He says didn't come up with a name for this one, but he's a mix of Southern blues bruiser, but on a hip hop tip. Nice. I love the intro where it's and then it gets into the beat and the drum work on this joint as usual. Gamma kills the drum programming. He always does. Say what you want, you have to respect the man's hustle with his sequencing and instrumentation and how he just overall how he does everything with his submissions. Like I can imagine some people when they go into the studio, they just want to get a beat, be it 1, 2, 3 sequences maybe, or they lay all the elements out and then they go through and they sequence it where they mute and move some stuff around. I don't know this for sure, but it appears that every time Gamma goes into the studio that he's looking to create experiences. He's looking to create full experiences. That's the best way I can describe it, where there's multiple things happening. It's not just loops. It's not just muting and taking stuff out and bringing it back in a later measure. Gamma goes out of his way. He's not the only one, but most notably with Gamma, he's the one that's going to go in and do multiple things within the track. It's not just about let me get 4 bars down and then I can mute some stuff and move stuff around. No, Gamma is really coming up with songs and using song structure. And this is no exception. This is nothing different. I love this. The drum work and the swing, something like that. That's really dope. And if we're using this for, a wrestler or an MMA fighter, even a boxer, it's perfect. It's perfect. You got somebody that's from the South. This is perfect. No matter what color. This is perfect. It represents what he says perfectly. Southern Blues Bruiser. That could represent a few different athletes in the South. That's dope. I love that. Gamma does it, man. Hashtag Gamma does it. We need to get that popping. Shout out Gamma Pies. Student, no one you know. Paul Napier II. Greatly appreciate y'all coming through and participating this week. Greatly appreciate you for watching this week. Hopefully, we won't be doing too many more shows like this. I want to get back to the party, the live, the chat. Got to get that back popping. Hopefully, we'll be right back. Anyhow, thank you all for watching this week. If you do like what we do here, please throw a thumbs up on the video. Throw some shares on it. Put it on your social media and let your people know this is where really dope music resides every freaking week. YouTube.com/Computer Music Academy. That's it for now. We're done for the week. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!